I'm not actually.
Not yet.
Exactly.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 10 of Denied Shifts. I have a special guest today. It's Adrienne Lafond, also known as Hesp, specialized as performance coach in both esports and traditional sports. Chris is out today, so she gets to be my co-host today.
From the moon with the glitching, but
Yeah.
you know.
She's we're calling her in from the lunar colony, from the dark side of the moon. She was the first one on that SpaceX rocket that landed on the moon there. Thanks, Elon Musk.
Yeah.
But also, we're wearing our Eagles jerseys today because this week is Super
Go
Bowl.
Birds.
Exactly.
Go Birds.
Are you excited for this weekend?
I don't think I've ever been more excited. I know that like we're playing the Chiefs again, but like I honestly feel like this game compared to last game is going to be so much more enjoyable to watch, like knowing how hard they've fought this season to like get there. And I mean, despite being a big Kelsey girly, I'm bummed not to see him there, but like I think that this team has what it takes to beat that dynasty right now.
Do you think he's going to wear an Eagles jersey being there, or is he going to be? He's going to be there, but
I think he's talked on New Heights about, or yeah, New Heights about not like wearing New Heights, but not wearing Kansas City gear. I don't think Kylie would let him, to be honest.
I don't think so either.
No.
Any other plans for this weekend other than watching the game? Are you going to be at home watching it, or?
Yeah, I'm doing a little party with my other grad students. I've convinced a lot of the girls in my program to like get into it. I have forewarned them that I am superstitious on game day, as most Eagles fans are. Let's be real. And they're only allowed to wear Eagles colors if they want to be welcomed into my home for the day.
Exactly. I'm for sure going to be wearing my Eagles jersey to church. So.
Oh, okay. Make sure the Lord knows and everything. We are
exactly.
We are Birds fans through and through.
And if I see anyone with Kansas City gear at church, I'm praying for y'all. We're immediately bringing out the anointing oil. We're dumping it on you.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna make sure you're purified and clean from that Kansas City.
The holy water is as the Billy might say.
Exactly.
Perfect.
But yeah, I'm excited to have you on. Chris is out today, so this is going to be fun, especially on Super Bowl weekend, and a fellow Birds fan. So
I know, can't go wrong.
Can't go wrong. Quickly, just going to go through some top headlines. I just got 3 for today. Chase Elliott won the first ever NASCAR Cup Clash at Bowman Gray Stadium, which was a return for NASCAR to Winston-Salem, North Carolina, since 1971. Zhao was also named second backup driver for Ferrari with Antonio Giovinazzi. Oh my gosh, I'm going to mess up this Italian last name. Does this mean that Lewis Hamilton is on thin ice for the season? Guess we're going to find out. And then Super Bowls this weekend. Kansas City Chiefs versus Philadelphia Eagles playing in New Orleans. Game is going to be on, actually, it's on Fox, right?
I think it's on Fox.
Okay. Dude, there's so many networks nowadays.
I know. They need to pick one.
But those are our top headlines for the week. Very quickly and easy. We'll talk about OWCS at the end of the show. Do a little quick Overwatch recap and kind of preview for the games coming up this weekend. But right now, we're going to talk about Eagles and Super Bowl, as we were just talking about. What are you most looking forward to at the start of this game?
Most looking forward? That's tough. I think there's a lot of things I'm looking forward to. Both as a performance coach and like knowing like what their staff has done, as well as just being a fan. Like we cannot go wrong with the exciting whites. I'm so excited to see what both Cooper and Reed put out there. I'm excited for Bond, honestly. Like having a great season like from him. I would be dumb not to mention Saquon. Like I think our season, where would we be without him? But honestly, I'm ready to watch Hurts shut the haters down. I'm so sick of seeing like so many analysts like predict Kansas City win this.
Yeah.
knowing like Hearts has the potential to whoop ass out there on this weekend. So
Did you see the videos of this independent reporter asking both the younger Kelsey brother and
Travis.
yeah, Travis and Mahomes about their thoughts on the refs during their
Oh my
games?
god. I saw one of them. I think it was Mahomes, who like walked around it by like thanking the refs and then like diving. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, media trained, we love it. I think there were a lot of good provoking questions on both sides, like just to see like the reaction. I know that like someone asked Travis about like if Kanye was on his like hype playlist at all, and Travis just went no. And I was like, okay, cool. So I think like, there's I think the media just loves poking the bear when they have any opportunity with these players on both sides. So I'm not surprised they got asked.
Yeah, I saw it and I was like, oh man, like they're really going after the Kansas City guys this time around.
I mean, I think there's a majority of people who don't want to see them three-peat. I saw like a video of someone comparing it to like the green car in Cars. I'm blanking on his name when he won like the Piston Cup or whatever again, and like no one cheered for him. That is
Yep.
going to be Mahomes if he wins this again. Like that is purely what we're going to see. No one wants to see this three-peat.
No. I mean, as much as
So
like as Eagle fans, we love Andy Reid. We have a long
yes,
time love for him because of the amount of wins he did bring to Philadelphia.
yeah,
Um, I can't see him do it again somewhere else,
I
especially in like when the
know.
Eagles have a chance.
Yeah, I mean, and the way we've played this season, like I feel like obviously we're always gonna hype up Eagles. Like that is we bleed green, right? But like
Yep.
this season compared to like other seasons for me has been so much more enjoyable, and I don't know like what it is exactly. I don't know if it's I've just happened to catch more games or I'm a lot more invested like through social media like about the players and like getting to know like their backstory and like but fucking seeing Saquon hurdle over like the players in I forget what week it was, but against fucking Jacksonville.
Hmm.
Insane. Like that starting there and then his snowy touchdown with the Rams. Like come on. Like I this Super Bowl is going to be damn good.
It's true. I feel like that's part of like where the hype up is with Saquon just literally just running it down the field. Um, I'm kind
I
of
don't think
hoping the
he's
game starts that way, where like he
yeah.
runs in for that touchdown, basically that started
I
off.
want a
But
pick six. I want like fucking CJ or Reed get a pick six. Like let's see this. Goddamn time. I know CJ's gotten one pick six
is he
so
just
far
one
this
right now?
semester. I think he only has one. Could
Mhm.
totally see him going for two. I think that'd be a great way to start off. Um, I this team, it's never wanted to scream "Go Birds" louder down here in Florida. So
It's true. It is also interesting because for so long they've been known as a second half team,
yes,
and after the Washington game, that was not the issue.
yeah.
Um, do you expect to see the same going into Super Bowl? Because the Washington game, that NFC Championship game, felt like a totally different Eagles team as well.
Well, I mean, think about it when we first faced Washington, right? Like
Mhm.
we can't fully compare those games just because Hertz was out that first game against Washington. Um, or that most yes. I'm trying to remember the games. Um, so like we had oh my gosh, Pickett, and then we had what I think Jordan Maletta called him the Mormon Missile. Like we saw him really come out as starting quarterback, and he did well too. But like
Mhm.
that was even we had our second and third like out there. They still played well, just not the best.
Yep.
And then we saw them with Hurts, and I think Hurts does make a difference to this team, whether we want to admit it or not fully. Um, I think we do a good job picking up like and having a good second and third. Um, I mean, we've got some tough guys out there like Dickerson and oh my god, I'm blanking on his name. Jurgens, Cam Jurgens.
Oh, you're right.
Um, the two of them like fighting to like stay in the game with their team, like that just goes to show how fucking tough this team is, and like it's you get behind them because you like you know what they're pushing to do, like they know what they're going for and they're committed to it through the pain, and you have to admire that. Like it would be remiss not to.
Do you think they're going to have to strike early? Because not only has the Eagles been a second half team, but so has Kansas City been a very second half heavy, like scoring team.
They've been a lucky ass team. Let's call it how it is. They're not a second half scoring team. They're a lucky fucking duck. Um, sorry to all the Kansas City fans out there. Y'all can hit my DMs on Twitter and argue all you want.
Kind of a biased episode today.
Yes, it is a little biased. I am a diehard Eagles girly, so it's biased. But y'all are fucking lucky ducks. Respectfully, watching some of those games, it was how the hell did they win that game again? It's respectfully, y'all got really lucky. I'm not gonna say that it's all luck. But you got some old men out there playing. Y'all are making some respectfully. Y'all, like, I don't mean to be rude, but you got some on the way out. And I'm not saying that we don't have some on the way out, but we at least also have the really good balance of young. And I don't know if Kansas City really has that. I think that they're this is probably their last good run as a dynasty. I think a few guys are going to retire after this, and their team is going to have some big gaps to fill. So, they're lucky ducks. Respectfully, I think them being a second half team. Sure, maybe I'll give it to him. I honestly think that the Eagles have a lot to reflect on. I think it's interesting that Saquon, I don't think, has ever faced Kansas City.
That's right.
I don't think he ever has. So I think that it'll be interesting to see from him.
I don't think he has either because he came from New York, and New York, the Giants have never faced him.
He's going to have to do mad prep into this. So I think it'll be interesting to see him in particular play against someone he hasn't played up against. Regardless, GOAT, but I'm curious to see him play against a team he's never faced. Because that could be a big hit or miss for us here.
Yeah. Score predictions.
We win. I think both teams probably put up a good solid number. I was thinking like we're in 30s, we're in 20. They're like higher 20s maybe. Obviously I'm hopeful, but like I would love to see like us win by a few, not by 3, but I think that like there's probably a better potential of us winning by 3.
So we're expecting a bit of a high scoring game. A little bit.
I think it'll be high scoring regardless.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be like 55 like we saw the other week.
Where there was no defense.
Careful. I will dog on Kansas City, but but I think that like it'll be a good scoring game. I think that both teams have good offense and defense.
Yep.
But obviously, as an exciting Whites fan, I'm gonna push that we're better. But
you had mentioned before we started recording about a wellness person as well with the Eagles.
Yeah, their associate performance coach. Her name is Autumn Lockwood. She was the first Black woman to coach in the Super Bowl back in 2023, and she's still with the Eagles again for the Super Bowl, which I think is so cool. I mean, bit of a performance coach nerd, so I'm excited to see her again with that team. I think, not to preach DEI to you, but like I think it's nice to see a woman in sports. Being a woman in sports, I don't think that we get enough representation, and not enough eyes looking at us. So like, but like go her. Like that's such a great stage to represent women at. So
basically segue over to like talking about you with wellness.
Oh boy.
But we're gonna stick with the Eagles thing.
Yeah.
like for instance with her, like with Autumn especially, like from your perspective, what's the impact that wellness people have with players, especially like we're talking about NFL players?
Are we
Uh,
talking like wellness staff as a whole? Like we're talking like PT,
yeah,
and like
just
their involvement as well?
yeah, anything you have, or you would say like you've
Yeah.
noticed as well as the impact to the Eagles organization, because obviously as Eagle fans, we've watched them play and grow as well within their organization.
Yeah, so I'm biased. Coming from that background again, a lot of my opinions today will probably be slightly biased. I think that any team who has a solid support system, um, whatever that looks like, whether that's the fans, and I know that like sometimes we boo our own team. We want them to know we're disappointed in them, and I think that
Yep.
that's good for growth. Um, but I think that like the science aspects and having a good PT and like who knows when to pull your players out, who knows like the best and upcoming science, who knows what's going to be best for your players, depending on their age and like working with them in the locker room and even in like the gym, like knows them in and out will be huge in maintaining your overall health in that team and coming into the Super Bowl prepared and fucking ready. um, I think that it when you have a good support staff, and this is not just like coaches. This
Mhm.
is again back to that like performance coach, your PT. Potentially, you can see OT in there. Even just having psych around um, makes a difference. You want your players ready to be out on that field and give it their all.
Yep.
And when your staff knows the best way to get each and every one of your players to do that, you're gold. You're set. So, and I think that looking at like who they have on staff, obviously I don't know all of them. I really get to just graze their LinkedIn file, maybe see if they have any publications out there, what work they've talked about. I think that it goes to show who they have on staff and what I've seen from them. They really do have a great team supporting them. So
And speaking of like fans like to give their opinion by sometimes
yeah,
booing their own players,
yeah,
especially when we talk about Philadelphia and the brotherly love that
yeah.
gets
We'll call it
displayed
that.
quite often.
I think it's a good thing.
Do you feel like the staff, the wellness, basically the wellness, the psych staff, and everything else play a very much a bigger impact in Philadelphia because knowing how fans are and sometimes how abrasive fans, not just fans, actually, media as well,
Yeah,
because media likes to lay it down. Like Philly radio will lay it down.
I think regardless of where you are in the team, it's a team aspect. So like your fans are booing you, you feel that from top down.
Yep.
Like you feel that from head coach to like your newest fucking rookie. Like your whole team, your whole staff, your like anyone who's getting these players out on that field performing their best, or is a part of those gears turning, right? Like I think like if you're a part of that gear turning and your fans are booing you, like you want to make a change to support that team to be better so their fans stop throwing snowballs potentially kind of situation. So
Yep. Well, speaking of like with wellness, obviously the reason why we're talking about it is you're a wellness specialist, or if anything, you're a performance coach, both
yeah.
esports and traditional sports. Um, Tell us about yourself when it comes to that and like basically your background and experience. I know you're working on your master's program as well,
Yep.
down in Florida. So
Yeah, so I'm currently over at Florida Tech. I'm getting my master's in, bear with me here, applied behavior analysis and organizational behavior management. Um, as a performance coach, I think everyone can kind of look at it like a little differently, whether your background's psych or more like traditional wellness, or behavior. And each performance coach brings something to the table. I've like done esports health and performance institutes, like they have like a general course.
mhm,
I did that to kind of get into it, like really assess like okay, like what are the basics I need to know for wellness. um, Read more into those, completed that certification, really wanted to get into it. But my actual passion is taking the behavior analysis and really applying that to like, okay, how do we make data driven decisions based on what we see in the scientific literature,
Mhm.
based on just our general science, how do we track that? How do we consistently make sure that it is efficient, it's working for this player? Um, so I get to come at it from a little different perspective than most traditional performance coaches, which is nice. And I genuinely enjoy like explaining that to individuals and organizations I do get to sit down and work with. So
When it comes to performance coaching,
yeah,
are you? I know this gets asked all the time, especially when it comes
yeah,
to like people that specialize in wellness. Um, you obviously have to do a lot of. There's a lot of mental side to it that we talk about,
yeah.
but there's also that physical aspect. How like when people ask you like, do you do mental coaching and physical coaching? How do you explain that to them when it comes to performance coaching and wellness and such?
Yeah, so when we look at wellness as a whole, there's so many different like gears within that, right? So like we
Mhm.
can talk about physical, we can talk about mental, we can talk about like even like the smaller things that you might not even consider that have an impact on your performance. Like we can talk about sleep all day, any day. That's usually the first thing that goes through sports players. We can talk about your caffeine intake because that's going to probably have an impact more than you might be aware of. Like every aspect of like what you're eating, what you're thinking, what you're breathing, like what you do physically all has an impact on your performance. um I don't dabble in psychology, so that's something that I am not familiar with. I don't go down that route. However, there's some overlap between behavioral aspects in psychology. um, some of what psych uses actually has been written into behavior analytic journals.
Mhm.
We do a lot of assessment, um, and then treatment, um, and then we consistently analyze that treatment. I love my psych companions. They don't come at it the same way we do. I'll put it that way. I genuinely did debate sports psychology versus going at it with a behavior analytic view into sports. Traditionally, behavior analysis is used in education, specifically with children with autism or head injuries. They look more at like the traditional behaviors. But wellness is most of what you do for wellness is a behavior. Your time management, that's a skill. We can look at skill acquisition.
Mhm.
Um, when you are high stress, we can look at um, like breathing, and like we can quite literally count breathing, and we can look at it that way. So like we do a lot more of hard, concrete science, um, where love psychology, their science is a little different. So we're a natural science.
Mhm.
Um, per definition. We look at manipulating your environment more than your thoughts.
Yep.
So
Would you assess it as like basically like the things you do like versus like being behaviors like the output of it all, but more so
sure.
managing everything else you're doing before the behavior. Is that best way to describe it basically, or
Not quite. So in behavior, we look at what happens before the behavior and what happens after the behavior.
Mhm.
Because what's happening before your behavior is what's going to. I'm simplifying this a lot for my fellow behavior analysts who look at this and go, "What the heck?" We simplify. I'm simplifying it a lot. We look at what we're looking at like prior
Yep.
to see what's happening before the behavior. Is that something we can change, um, and then like generalize out. We look at the behavior itself because we want to be able to understand the form of it, the function of it, those types of things, and then we also look at the consequence, what happens afterwards. So it's not like it's a punishment. We're looking at like, is this behavior more likely to continue, or is this behavior less likely to continue depending on what we do kind of between your behavior or directly following your behavior
Yep.
or prior to your behavior to try and either lower or increase it. We do both.
And I know you mentioned psychology as well, because psychology like does kind of touch on behavior.
Yeah,
And I know we're trying to like basically simplify this, dumb this down for everyone that doesn't have a full
yeah,
background or a grasp of like not just like wellness, but like of psychology and any other
yeah,
sports performance stuff. Um,
yeah.
but would is it like because you were talking about it like they use two
Yeah.
different sciences basically? Is it like completely different as far as like how you like examine a behavior in a person, or is there some similarity to where like yeah you guys could talk to each other, but your methods of treatment is different?
So I hate to use my favorite phrase here, but it definitely depends. um, there's overlap for sure. So
Yeah.
for certain behaviors, when we look at it, they're more private behaviors. So that tends to be more your thoughts, um, things that are unobservable to us as
Hmm.
a additional person. Um, when we get into that, we look at it a little differently than psych. Um, and that's really where we differ. Um, when we start to get into private, we do self report. So, like, they report and we use that data. Um, Psych tends to kind of listen, reframe, and adjust your mindset. And
Hmm.
sometimes they use behavior analytic techniques without realizing it. Um, with like things like ACT, for example, so that's acceptance and commitment therapy. Um, we use it in behavior analysis. It's data driven. We use it. We love it. We actually at Florida Tech do use it within our esports, which is so cool. I haven't directly used it, but another one of my colleagues does. But they also use that in psych. So, like we have this overlap depending. We just look at it very differently. Where they look at like, okay, mental, this is your thoughts, and they like we're like, no, 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 we still need data. Like we can't just like we can take your word on it, but like give us data.
Yep. When it comes to doing esports and traditional sports, obviously, like you have a background in doing both.
Yep.
Um, how much different is performance coaching between the two?
Ooh. Um, Esports is definitely more cognitive.
Yep.
Um, where traditional sports we tend to look more at like physical aspects. That impact your wellness and your performance. There's a big difference between an esports player and a football player. Your football player is getting hit and constantly like if they have an injury, like okay, how do we work with this? How do we get you to be consistent without pushing it over? Um, how do we build your skills, your strength, your knowledge? Um, Whereas in esports, it's very much a mental game. For those of us who have competed, we know that like you try to get in your opponent's head a little bit when you play. Like it is not just playing to
Yeah.
play. Um, and for that, it's a cognitive sport. And so we look at more like potentially verbal behavior. So like your communications in game, how to optimize that, how to increase that potentially. Um, we look at like tilting in particular. So like you're getting frustrated, that's going to impact your gameplay 100%. When we talk about like flow and clutch states and psych, how does your behavior impact what your performance looks like? We know from plenty of observations when you tilt, you're not performing your best.
Hmm.
Um, you're not in that best mindset to put out the best result. Um, we know that if you're in comms and you're saying not so great things, we'll call it negative talk. When you're engaging in this conversation about like I whiffed, I'm terrible, I can't play this game, why am I doing this? You're actually taking away from functional communication of your team. So now your team can't call, hey, they're mid, hey, they're I don't know any other games. Sorry, Overwatch. But like,
We get it.
when you're calling out to your team, if someone's cluttering your comms because they're tilted, you can't get those functional comms out. So you actually see a decrease in overall team performance too. So those are the kind of things you might look at, like performance on the field versus performance in game.
When it comes to esports, what's your background with esports and performance coaching? Where's like
Mostly Valorant.
mostly Valorant?
Some Rocket League. Sorry, Overwatch. I've never touched your game. It scares me. I've done CS as well. Some Call of Duty, very limited. I tend to probably lean more FPS. I would say that those are my top. And I'm not like gonna say no to other ones. I just happen to know those games the best as I've played most of them. So
And has it been mainly collegiate, or you've been
no,
working with private?
I've done grassroots, T2, and collegiate at the moment. I am crossing my fingers. I have had a few pro companies reach out and just things not happen to work because of where I'm at right now with my studies.
Yep.
I'm hoping to eventually find one that might fit. Part of the issue is where I'm at in my schooling. I'm really trying to bring more of those behavior and analytic techniques, and I'm not board certified at the moment because I'm accruing my hours and the master's degree I need in order to sit and take that exam.
Yep.
So I have to be overseen by someone who does have their board certification. So it becomes a little bit of a, hey, I appreciate that you want me as part of your company, but it's not just me. I need you to also understand that this other person needs to be read into these things so I can do what I do best.
Traditional sports, what does that look like for you?
I haven't done it in the past 6 months. I did it a lot back home, just because I had my foot in that door back home since moving. I unfortunately just haven't found those opportunities because I don't have those connections at the moment. And Florida Tech does not have a football team, which is my background. So
So it was football for you mainly when it came to
yes,
traditional sports too.
yep. It's my favorite traditional sport besides swimming, and there's minimal things you can do with swimming.
Well, yeah.
Just swim better.
By the way, we never mentioned this. Where's home for you?
Okay, so about an hour outside of Boston, a little bit more north. New Hampshire is the state I grew up in, loved. I've lived a few different places within that state, and boy, do I miss the snow right now.
So I'm gonna ask this because you're from New Hampshire.
Yeah.
And we're talking about you in this segment. Why are you an Eagles fan?
Okay, so this is the funniest story. Bear with me. Grew up a Pats fan. Obviously, living in New England, it would be a
Yep.
crime not to be one during that dynasty. Grew up with the biggest crush on Danny Amendola. Loved him. In college, I was at the bar with my friends, and they were like, hey, so we think it's ridiculous that you just picked whatever team your family handed you. And I was like, you know what? Sure, I think that's ridiculous. I grew up a Pats fan. Why can't I still be a Pats fan? And at the time, the friend that had brought this up, the Eagles were beating his team. And so I said, fine, I'll be an Eagles fan. Jumped on the bandwagon, have not gone back. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely love the fan base. I could not be happier with like picking Eagles, to be honest. So
Nice. I had to
I
ask
also
that.
think I also think picking Eagles out of spite is so in line with like being that kind of fan for them. So
I wish
just
I could
saying.
say the same for myself because it's funny. My family, my dad and my sister are lifelong Patriots fans. I mean, ever since my dad entered this country, he was a Patriots fan.
Well,
And
good
I,
team to pick, but you know,
when
not
I was,
recently.
yeah, when I was a kid, I picked the Eagles. So
I love that. Yeah. Um,
maybe it was because it's a bird.
maybe my uncle is severely disappointed in me for being an Eagles fan. He did tell me this year at Christmas. However, that being said, I still love the Pats. I still am very interested in like what they do and everything, but I at this point bleed green. I'm too committed to this damn team to go back.
And it must be interesting living in Florida now, being an Eagles fan.
Yeah, I think where I live, like football's not too common. It's not like I live in Miami or Tampa. I think I think that would be a whole different aspect. Do I plan on going potentially to the Bucks game next season in Tampa? Hell yes. Do I finally want to see the Eagles play in person? Hell yes. So um, I still have not seen a Eagles game live, which breaks my heart. But also, like, college funds, you don't exactly have the money to go to a NFL game. So
I'm in the same boat. I haven't seen an NFL game ever either live.
Ugh,
So,
Ripple, we should just plan to go to a home game. What are we doing?
right. I'm ready to jump back into the wellness thing.
Okay.
When it
Oh,
comes to,
this is Willow. Sorry.
oh, yay.
Willie, want to say
Pets.
hi?
Hey,
She's
Willow.
like, she's like, no, mom, I want to step all over your keyboard.
I know. Surprised Duke's not here with me. He's made a few appearances on the show. When it comes to dealing with wellness, and we talk about traditional sports and esports,
Yeah.
do you find any similarities? Like one of the things
Oh,
I could think of is like smart goals and such. Like
yeah.
something like I've heard you for so long harp about, other than sleep, obviously with esports people. But with is smart goals, is there some similarities with how those are formulated between the two?
Yeah.
Obviously, because we know, like you mentioned, there's a physical aspect to traditional sports that
Yeah.
esports doesn't have.
I think an athlete is an athlete, whatever sport they play. We definitely see some similarities in goals and the skill development of like how do I create a goal, how do I create a system to support that goal, and teaching them on those fronts. Obviously, sleep I think is a universal problem for most like collegiate athletes in particular. They're juggling so much in their life that like when you don't have enough time in your day, what do you do? Like you're eating into those 7, 8, potentially 9 hours of sleep that you need. Um, Self-management skills, particular, I think that goes along with time management. Decision making, communication, mental resilience. Those are things that you see across the board.
Okay, so we know when it comes to physical athletes, their physical health, basically exercising and diet, are very important to them. Um,
Oh, it's still the case for esports. You
yeah,
need to take care of your body.
yeah,
If you want your
I was gonna
mind to
ask about that.
perform, like whether you're like a pro athlete, a grassroots athlete, um, whether it's traditional sports or esports, like you need to fuel your body.
Mhm.
You're it doesn't matter if it's physical or if it's cognitive, your body still needs the best to perform the best. I think the difference is when you look at esports, you're looking a little more cognitively. But that being said, they still need to work out. Our bodies do best with routine and exercise. So,
Yeah, and I only ask that because I know for my personal like experience as well. Like I was a runner, I was a cross country runner and track runner before as well, and competed esports, and I knew there was a difference when I was heavily like exercising because obviously I was competing while I was running,
yep,
um, versus like not doing a lot of the physical activity. My performance, even in esports, like it changed. There was a drastic difference, and that's
yep,
the reason why I asked about that because like I think like a lot of esports athletes, especially, like they forget that there is that physical aspect to it. Like we're not just sitting down at a chair at a desk, hours on it, and our body's not really like our body is taking on some sort of toll, kind of thing.
yeah. Most gamers don't even consider like ergon. Thank you. Most gamers don't consider.
You had something to say about that, Willow?
Yeah. Do you want to tell the people? um, I think that most people don't consider like ergonomics as well as gamers. They're not considering like the risk of injury that they're putting themselves at by having
Hmm.
terrible, wrist positions or how they're sitting in their chair or even like what their chair is made out of. They're not recognizing the risk they're putting themselves at. Um, and exercising and promoting like good muscle growth I mean, even just having a support to your body and recognizing like, okay, I need these muscles to perform their best. So like I'm not injuring myself in the wrong way. I think there was a professional esports player who ended up with a collapsed lung. And I think that really goes to say like, okay, we're not exercising enough.
Mhm.
We're not taking care of our body to the point like we're not doing full deep breaths, and it's allowing our muscles to weaken, and then we're having problems with collapsed lung.
Yep.
I mean, there could be other things within it. Obviously, I wasn't directly on that case, but I think that goes like your physical performance and your physical like maintaining your physical health is just as important as maintaining your cognitive going into games. So
When it comes
if you
to
don't feel good, you're not going to play good.
that's true. When it comes to stress, have you noticed differences between esports and traditional sports? When it comes to like things that trigger a person's stress levels?
Not really.
No.
Um, I think in gaming we see a lot more of the tilting. Um, and I think that you see that post game, particularly with traditional sports. You know, you lose a game, you're pissed.
Yep.
Um, regardless. um, and that can have a toll on your mental when you don't approach it the right way. I don't think there's too much of a difference. I think the form looks different a little bit, but
And
the function's still there.
how about managing or basically treating it, um, the stress?
I think it really depends on the support system that they have and the awareness that they have as individual players. I don't think that varies between sport.
Let's talk about you more
Oh,
so.
what?
Um, we got a good overview of what with wellness and what you do and such, and just like
Yeah.
different talking points when it comes to that. Now let's talk about like what brought you to wellness or like
Oh
into
boy.
performance coaching. Like what led you there? Basically, like obviously you're in your master's program, so you're deep into this already. Like you're fully
Oh yeah.
committed at this point.
Um, playing, funny enough, and being a terrible player and having terrible supports, um, kind of led me down my path. So I went from playing in GC, not well, by the way, but playing in GC,
Mhm.
um, or Game Changers as a Valorant player, terribly, terribly, and not getting the opportunity to really learn from that, and so I just ended up in this frustration loop, of not learning, doing the same mistake, getting mad, and like constantly doing that same thing, and getting tilted and burnt out with the game. And I eventually went, fine, I'm not going to play it. And then I went into managing for teams. I did that for a few months. Um, Ended up in like a grassroots organization. Um, Ended up in a few over time, but one in particular I put my whole self into. Um, it was exhausting. I learned again what burnout looks like from another angle.
Mhm.
Um, at that point, I had been working as a behavior technician with children with severe behaviors with autism back home, and so I started to get that taste for that behavior aspect of treatment for a lot of things. Um, and I was like, okay, this has to apply. Like, hold on, there has to be a way we get into this.
Yep.
And the more I read into it, the more I got to speak with people who already do it. The more I fell in love with it. I started looking at like traditional wellness because I wanted a base before I started, and that's kind of how I got into it was getting burnt out not once but twice in two different ways, and then going, there's got to be a way to support players better than this, and support organizations. And being in grassroots, we don't have a lot of support. Um, it's pretty much a good luck, do it on your own, figure it out. Um, and so I think that's why I was also quick to jump on board with the roundtable, and create like, hey, this is wellness. This is what it looks like. This is what you should be doing. Here's like just read, please. Like what you can do better. And I've always been open. Like people are welcome to DM me. I'm not a certified expert in any sense of way yet. Again, I'm a learner. I'm looking to process these things, but if I don't know and it's not within my scope, I can send you to someone who definitely does have that certification and understanding. So I feel like it's a wild way to get into things, but once you fall into something you love, you stick with it.
And the funny part is, I think most of us got our passions because of esports, which led us
Mhm.
down to another road in a sense.
Yeah.
And this is something for you in college, right? Not like something you
Yeah.
were doing in high school. So high school, did you have a different aspect for your life or like
So I was a
goals?
swimmer. I did not get into gaming until college, funny enough. And it was kind of
Wow.
a, hey, you're with us now. We're going to the lab and you're going to come play at the arena with us. Have fun. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. They put me on Valorant. They were like, play it. And I was like, okay. And so like that's how I fell into the whole thing. Which is insane. So to come from high school and being a swimmer and then to get into college and people be like, you're gonna play now, and you're like, I don't know what the hell a PC is, but sure. You kind of like magically fall in love with it. There's no other way to put it. Like you find a passion for something, you go for it. I honestly thought I was going to be a special ed teacher, and now that I'm on this path, I'm like, I'm so glad I didn't do that. This is right. This is 100% where I'm supposed to be. So
Did you want to be a special ed teacher when you were in high school?
I did. Oh, well, I wanted to be a nurse, and then
Uh,
very quickly decided I did not because COVID kind of smacked us in the face.
mhm.
And I really recognized like, hell no, I don't want to do that. I went into education.
It's funny because like you mentioned wanting to be a nurse, and it in some ways it doesn't feel that far off, but it's
I'm
like it
I'm
is.
literally I found the heart of all my passions. I grew up loving science. And like 8th grade science, shout out to Stith, made my love for science like so sorry, I'm laughing at her in the background. So pronounced. Like I fell in love with science. I was like, I'm gonna do science. It's gonna be STEM. I know it. My mom was like, okay, sure. Like whatever you want. I was like, I'm gonna put on the goggles and everything. In high school, I loved chemistry. Shout out Goulet. I loved microbiome and biology. Shout out Lawson. Like I loved those classes, but it wasn't like the science I wanted to do. I didn't want to be stuck in a lab. I enjoyed working with people, and I was like, okay, nursing, right? Like that's a people science. No one tells you what behavior analysis is in high school. No one knows that. No one's like, hey, like
No
this is
one's
kind
talking
of
about it in high
yeah,
school.
no one knows what it is. I'll post on like Twitter and people like DM me like, what the hell is behavior analysis? I'm like, all right, let me break it down for you. And it's fine. We are a newer science. I'm not surprised that it's not very well known. We're mostly only known in education because we work with children with autism.
Mhm.
We work with a specific group of individuals who really need that support, and it's only now that we're really seeing the dissemination of the field into other areas, which is really cool. And I get to be a part of that dissemination into health, sports, and fitness. So
N- nice.
yeah, you kind of find your niche within your niche. Honestly, like if I had to like tell a kid like if you're not sure where your job is yet, just find an opportunity um, that you think you would enjoy, but keep searching. Like, don't be done. I got my undergrad in ed. Like, it's not. And then I worked as a behavior technician. That's how I fell into it. This was oh my god, this is not something I kind of was just like, oh, behavior analysis, that sounds cool. Let me jump into it. Like I went into education thinking, okay, I'm going to teach people. I could teach them. I enjoy teaching people like about skills, about the things that like they need to learn, but like also still had that love for science in the background. And then found behavior analysis, which is kind of like, hey, teach these children with autism one on one, which I enjoyed way more than a classroom. Teach them one on one how to do these skills and like build life skills to these kids. But like at the end of the day, I still love sports. You could not pull me away from watching sports. And
Yeah.
so like to find the pathway to this is crazy. Like finding a job that really fits everything that I love. There's no way you can replace that passion that I now have for it. So
I'm gonna ask this because it's gonna lead to another question. But
Okay.
what is something outside of wellness? What is something you like to do? What's like what are you passionate about outside of it?
Besides cheering for the Eagles. Um,
Go Birds.
um, ooh, this is gonna sound really dorky. Honestly, love a good puzzle and book. um, I love just slowing life down for a hot minute and finding a good little hobby to do. I just completed my first 1,000-piece puzzle a few months ago and was really, really proud about it. So
Nice. The reason why I asked that is because something with wellness we talk about is balance, right?
yes,
Um, and how do you apply that balance with your own life? Obviously, like you just mentioned, is like your
yeah,
passions. It was a de-stressor and such. Um, is that the way you achieve your balance is by just doing a puzzle, basically, or reading a book that allows you to disconnect from your work at and obviously for you it's more complicated because you got
yeah,
work, you got school studying that you're
yeah.
doing at the same time,
hmm
and you're like maybe part-time working or volunteering here and there in esports because we talk about esports and grassroots like there's a lot of
Yep,
volunteering happening.
yeah.
Like how do you balance all of that? Is that how you do it? Is that your secret?
Yeah, just a good puzzle fixes everything. No, not quite. I do my best to get outside when I can. I do live in the Sunshine State now, which is really nice. I
Touch
get to go
grass.
on. Yeah, I go touch grass. It is important, believe it or not, gamers. Um, looking at you. I
In
think
this
it's
case you touch swamps and alligators, but
I don't know about that. I'm not going near a gator anytime soon. But no, I genuinely think it's important. Like I start my day off with sunshine. We
Mhm.
know the benefits of doing that. Get the heck outside at some point during your day. It makes a big difference. So that's part of it. I do my best to like be done with something. So like when I'm in school, we're in school mode. And then when I get home, okay, I'm either working or I'm doing homework, but like that's it. That's all I'm doing. I'm not trying to balance also all the DMs I'm getting about esports while I'm in the middle of doing my homework. We will get to that when we have the time. I really block out kind of my days and do my best to stick with that. And I leave buffer time in there. Like sometimes I just get an hour where I finally don't have anything and it's all right, let's go play with Willow. We're gonna pull out the string and play with this little nugget and just have time with her or go outside, go for a nice walk, find a good book, find a good tree to sit and read that book. Just doing your best to not keep yourself in a room um and also do your best to like get this done. Don't try and do 5 things all at once. You're gonna overwhelm yourself. You're
Yep.
gonna get tired. So and you have to put things down. Like there's a time in my night, like it's 1 a.m. I'm done answering. Don't ask me. Like I will see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. kind of thing.
Do you when you go out, do you social because you mentioned esports, like the amount of DMs you get, and
Yeah.
it could be overwhelming for especially like I don't know if you're introvert or extroverted as a person as well. I know for introverts it can be overwhelming, but do you also try to socialize outside, or is that something
Oh,
where it's like,
absolutely. Go out with your homies. Stop saying no to them. Go go to the bar and like just drink and talk sports.
over
Heck,
21,
over
by the way?
21. Over 21. Go to the good catch. Over the 21, you're only allowed to go to the bar. For under 21s, go to like a skating rink or bowling or some shit. Go get a Diet Coke and
Are
Dr. Pepper, whatever you drink.
miniature golfing?
Yeah, there's so many other options for you. When you hit 21, your only option, the only thing your friends are gonna want to do is go to the bar. So,
Ah!
uh,
Okay, so like I'm about to be 35, right? And my group of
mhm,
guy friends, like they do this every week. I don't get a chance to go with them all the time.
yeah.
Um, but they will go like we'll do the things like we were in 20s or like under 21. You go miniature golfing or
Yeah, I think there's
go
a
to the
period
arcade or something.
there's a period like after you hit 21, everyone's like, "I'm gonna go to the bar this weekend." You're like, "I'm sick of the bar. Can we pick
Yeah.
something else, please?" I think I'm eventually I'm finally at that point where like I can go. Thank you, Willow. We can go, and I can be like, "No, pick something else. We can go paint pottery downtown. That's a fun thing to do. We live right next to a freaking beach. We can go do that. Like, that would be nice. But then they're like, but it's cold for Florida. I'm like, all right, listen, I'm a northerner. I could wear shorts all day today. Listen, we can go to the beach, grab a sweatshirt. You'll be fine.
And we can
Just
still hit a brewery afterwards.
yeah, then we can go hit the brewery. That's fine. Just do something else. Going for walks is a big one for me. I with or without people, obviously I'm a big invite people. I try to do like one thing that's outside of school at least every other week. With people. Like this weekend I'm hosting a Super Bowl get together with my peers in school. And because I finally got like 9 women to watch football. Thank you. Proud of myself. We did it.
Happy Women in Sports Day.
Yes. Thank you. We love it. I think that go out, go socialize. Don't just be home playing. What the heck do people play? Overcooked with your buddies. Like pick their game, man. Go outside. Like,
you were
and
careful with that game.
If you're struggling, and if you're struggling to like make friends, say you're in your later 20s, it starts to get harder to make friends. You're no longer in school. Work. God knows you could have some 50-year-old colleagues. You need a homie. People at bars are pretty friendly. In general, go by yourself, find someone. If not, you can always join a sports league. Like, go play. You can go play beer league hockey when you're older. Again, 21 plus. You can go flag football. That's gotta be like there's always a league around you. There's softball. I know for like adults, go fucking play. You're young, get outside. If you're over 40 and I just told you you're young, go outside. I'm sorry. You're slightly older, but still go outside.
What does the future hold for you when it comes to esports right now? I guess what's some future side goals you got for yourself or aspirations?
Work with a pro team. That's up there, obviously. I think it's a really fast-paced environment. They're living out of their suitcase for a good amount too. I think that I would see some new challenges for myself in pro, which is what interests me about it. Not that it's pro, but like it's a new environment within esports. Get some research out there. I present at the Applied Behavior Analysis International Conference, so ABAI. In end of May, I get to go and be like, hey, look at my esports work. To all the behavior analysis out there, and kind of like rope them in to be like, look, esports exists. They need our help. And so I'm excited about that. I am still hoping to kind of get back into sports. I've been trying to reach out to behavior analysts who work in the NFL or the NHL, just to see like, hey, can I come observe? Can I get some hours with you? And then ultimately, I want to publish my thesis, which I start to work on officially this summer, which is so exciting. And then, from there, we'll see if Dr. Hesp ends up or not, but there's a potential for that down the line.
Hopefully.
We'll see. It's expensive, Ripple.
It's true. It's
school adds up.
More work.
School adds up.
I just committed you to more work too.
Yeah, please stop.
And folks, that's how you deal with stress. You tell it to stop. And you hang up on them. I'm just kidding.
No is a complete sentence. I'll say this again. No is a complete sentence.
Oh, this is so true. Long-term wise, are you looking to go towards the traditional route?
How do I put this nicely?
I know, like, I'll be blunt. There's no money in esports, folks. Even in the pro side.
Yeah. So I will always want to do consult work in esports. I will always make myself available for those opportunities. I love it. I don't think a lot of people do have that background to work within this space, whether that's behavior or psych, or PT or OT, and a lot of them are starting to like recognize that there is a need in esports, which is kind of nice. But the issue is the barrier tends to be more money and support. I don't think a lot of pro organizations are willing to put the money that most of us are worth um, into our pocket, if that makes sense. So it becomes a little bit more pro bono work for us to get experience and such, which you can't only do pro bono work.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sorry, but I'm definitely leaning more NFL work. I've always loved football. I could see myself doing NHL. MLB is out of luck. Sorry. Um, don't have an interest in baseball. I would say football and
Soccer?
hockey. Uh, maybe.
About auto racing?
Hey, we can talk about that another time.
All right, so maybe Formula One in the future.
I'd have to learn more about it.
Yeah.
Because obviously I'm not from that space, so it'd be a little harder for me. But
What's the dream team for you?
birds, what do you mean? What I really like about the Eagles is they do a lot of work with children with autism. They have the
Mhm.
Autism Foundation. It's part of the reason I ended up falling in love with the Eagles when I did originally pick them out of spite. I fell in love with like the work that they do to support that community. They have like sensory safe rooms for these kids because it gets loud at games. Um, Being inclusive like that is hard to see. Um, and so like if there's an organization that I could pick to represent as a behavior analyst, it would 100% be Eagles. And they also know what a BCBA is. They have some on their staff for the foundation. So
Yep. Uh,
crossing my fingers.
so when are we gonna see you on the West Coast? By the way, we know you're on the East Coast.
Mm,
Have you ever visited the West Coast before?
I have once. Rose Bowl's in California, yeah?
Yeah.
I went once when I was in high school. I marched in the parade. There you go. One and only time, and I don't hate me for this. Every once in a while, I crave an In-N-Out burger, but I think it's because I was a sweaty band kid after marching however many miles it is to be in the Rose Bowl. Like, so I think that that's where part of that comes from. I could see myself maybe visiting. No offense, I am 100% East Coast girly.
Don't worry. You don't have to be marching to crave an In-N-Out burger. Once you get the
I don't.
taste, that it's over.
Every once in a while, I think about it, and it
uh,
doesn't even compare to like McDonald's or Wendy's. Like it is superior. It's like a five, like maybe Five Guys compares, maybe, but not as good.
I, no, the amount of Five Guys that have shut down on the West Coast over here, it
Well, it's
tells a
because you
story.
guys have In-N-Out. I don't have that fucking choice over here, Craig.
I know they opened a bunch of them, but they for us West Coasters, Five Guys tastes like the
Do
burger
you
that
have a
we.
Wawa?
No, that's a Texas thing.
No, it's not.
Are they outside of Texas? I don't know. I've had them only in Texas, and that's where I know.
Pennsylvania,
It has a Wawa?
Pennsylvania, like all the way down to Florida
Oh, you're
has
right. You know
Wawa.
what? No, you know what I'm thinking of? Not that. Waterburgers is what I'm thinking of. That's a Texas thing.
Oh no, I was asking about Wawa in
We don't have
particular.
Wawas.
Oh, you were missing out, my friend.
I got Jersey Mike's though.
So do we. Jersey Mike's is we love them, but
We do too.
Philly cheesesteak goes hard. But listen, listen, Wawa top tier. My go-to on a study night.
For us, the reason why Five Guys didn't work for most West Coasters, I know there's an argument even on this side of the coast, though. But for most of us that can explain it, it tastes like and looks like a burger that we make at home in our backyard. Like there's no difference for us. So it's like, why are we? And it's more expensive. So why are we going to pay a premium on Five Guys burgers when I could just make the same thing at home?
Yeah, that's a good point.
While In and Out is something totally different. So it's hard to replicate In and Out burgers.
It is. I think the only way I go back to the West Coast is one, I have the funds, not happening anytime while I'm in grad school. And two, it would probably be for, In-N-Out Burger. That would strictly be the only reason I go to California.
So here's my petition: Eagles, hire her, so that way we could see her on the West Coast when you guys play the Rams at SoFi Stadium.
Ooh. Okay, maybe. That might work.
There we go. That's the plan. That's the L plan right there.
Well plan.
I feel like we've covered so much when it comes to wellness and just talking about you, other than like band, which I didn't know, or maybe you've mentioned it to me a long time ago.
Did I
you did
march?
band and did marching band, and this is in high school.
Yeah. So
What
I
did you
was
play?
in. What do you think I played?
Clarinet.
Stereotype me for. You think I played clarinet?
I was gonna say trumpet for a
Wow.
second, but
Stereotyped me to clarinet. You really think that's my personality? I
right,
cheer for the
saxophone.
Eagles. I am.
What? They play the saxophone at Eagle Stadium?
I was in drumline, Ripple.
Oh, okay.
I was front ensemble during like field performances, but played marimba.
Nice.
4 mallets though, so I was extra skilled,
So you were like that special marching band.
As that nerd, that level.
I was a trumpet and trombone player. I was in
That
a
actually
marimba.
adds up for you. I would have guessed trumpet for you.
I did drumline too. I did the bass drum or the bass drum.
You were meant to be
and
a trumpet
toms.
player.
But
You're meant to be a trumpet player.
Trumpet, trombone was my main instruments.
No, I mostly played marimba. I just loved the sound of it way more than a drum. Like I loved the. Do you know how expensive a marimba is?
Can you still play?
I probably could. I'd be a little rusty though. But I don't have a marimba. So no, I don't actively play anymore. It is on my bucket list to learn guitar though. I have a written bucket list, just so you know. Like it's in my phone. I have the whole bucket list.
Oh, that is a long list. Oh
boy. Of course. Every opportunity I have to think of something and like I want to do it, it's on this list. I've crossed them off, you can see. So yeah. It works. There's a satisfaction of just hitting that button of I did it.
So you could still read sheet music then.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so that's second
not
nature for you.
something that goes away. That's not something that goes away.
I have to ask other musicians because there's some musicians that I've talked to and I was like, they've forgotten how to read sheet music almost, and I'm like,
but that's like learning how to ride a bike. Like that doesn't go away.
I could kind of understand it because like for me, I'll forget the notes because I had 2 instruments. Actually, I learned a 3rd instrument. I learned piano.
Okay. And so pop off.
Yeah, for me, like, okay, what is that note on this instrument? Oh shoot, I totally forgot. Now I gotta
because you have to worry about. Yeah, the nice thing is I was always in the same key as whatever the piano is, because marimba is pretty much wooden keys of a piano.
Yep.
So I never had to worry about key changes.
Oh, lucky you.
That's nice.
Well, I'm gonna end the show with talking about OWCS really fast.
I can't help you out there.
You can't. It's Overwatch Championship Series. We are unfortunately Amplify is 0-2 right now in the regular season. Losing to both Avidity and Shikigami, both games that we were hoping to win. This Friday we do play. Let me pull up the schedule so I'm not getting it wrong for you folks.
I will say you guys are my favorite team. And if I do catch Overwatch, it's to watch you guys.
We are playing Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific time, so this is going to be 7 p.m. Eastern. Is our supposed schedule match? Basically, broadcast whenever broadcast decides to put us up. It should be around that time. We play Space Station on Friday. The big Space Station gaming, everybody fan favorite. And then Saturday we will play Nightmare as well, which Nightmare is popular, very much popular, and built their fan base through Overwatch. 2 very high stake games for us. They're not in our favor. If you're in the betting side of it, they're not in our favor.
You guys got it.
But if you bet on us and we win, hey, that's a big payout for you betting folks. But yeah, those are our 2 games this coming up week. Hopefully, we kind of need those wins to be able to keep ourselves in next season's regular season. Otherwise, we're going to be looking at relegation games after this regular season. But yeah, we have that coming up. Quick shout out. You have the Spark program you're part of our latency partnership as well. You're a board member with me.
Again, I stink a thing now. Yes, no, I actually love, I love what I'm doing. I'm really glad that Matt reached out and was like, hey, I really think that you would be great to support me on this project. And I was like, I'm absolutely down. Anything to teach students about the skills that they're going to need going into this workforce, but also like helping them get opportunities, teaching them how to reach out for those opportunities. Because being in esports, you have to put your foot down. Like if you want something, you got to go get it. You have to get those 9 no's before you get that one yes. So
anything that you could preview or in quote unquote promote / leak that you're going to be doing in the Spark program, or anything you want to hype up?
Not quite. I'm going to keep it under wraps still. I will tell you it'll be worth it. Mav and I are working hard to building network and build out classes. I'll leave it at that.
I know there's a lot of things. Obviously, as a board member, I could see what's happening in the background. There is a lot of things happening.
Greg.
I'm not going to leak it. I'm just going to say I'm excited. And hopefully I get the chance to work with it more partner with you guys more when it comes to some of this stuff. I don't have any specific roles towards that. I'm the racing person.
I get to what's nice about the Spark program is it's kind of a, hey, we're looking for someone like you. Can you come here? Like come help us out with this thing for like whatever time you want to give. We have students who are interested in what you do. Kind of thing. So, and I want it to be accessible to anyone trying to get that start. I am doing my best to pull people who have professional experience, like you, myself, Maverick. Other unknown for now.
There's a lot we can't even say right now.
I think about leaking it, but then the hype needs to be there, you know? Can't just drop. I also haven't gotten full yeses from them yet. We're still in the process of pitching. Once I have official contract signed, maybe then I'll leak.
We're gonna have to bring you back on the show.
And you can follow me on Twitter at Hesp Gaming to find those leaks.
Definitely, and we're gonna have to bring you back on the show before those things.
I would love to come back. I always enjoy having a good conversation with you, and now they know my background, and they can be like, "She's weird. Please don't bring her back." But it's all good.
We're bringing you back just because of that.
The Kansas City fans might.
Unfortunately, why do we care what they think?
That's right. That's right.
This is
no one likes us. We don't care.
Well, with that, folks, we got to end this episode because we don't care. No, but hey, just want to say thank you for staying with us through this episode. Hess, thank you for coming on. I know this is a little secret. This was last minute. Chris, unfortunately, could not make it. So I asked Hess last moment to come on, and
always happy to help a friend out.
Yeah, I was excited. I'm glad we finally got to get you on the show too, because I've been wanting to try and do this. I just didn't know the timing, and then trying to work those episodes out. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed listening to this, and obviously our passionate opinions as Fly Eagles Fly. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to Amplify's channel. Make sure to hit that bell so that way you never miss an episode and get a notification of that. And also follow us on social media, which will all be listed in the description below. You can also follow Hesp at all her social media accounts, which again, we will list that all below. You can reach out to her there. If you have any questions when it comes to wellness, she's a great resource. And if she doesn't have the answer, she definitely knows someone that has the answer for it. So once again, thank you guys for joining us. By the way, I don't know if you guys noticed, this is episode 10. We hit double digits in our episodes finally. So
Honored to be here for it.
So we're on our way towards triple digits. We got a little bit of ways to go, but
you got it. You'll get there.
We'll get there.
You'll have me on again for the triple digit.
Definitely. But yeah, thanks again, guys, and we will see you all next week. See y'all.
Go Birds!